recording this session also, and I'm recording it because not all of us are able to get on, but I just picked the day that the most of us could, and so here we are. So it's nice to meet you guys. How's it going?
Yeah. All right.
Hi, Ashley. How are you? Welcome. Is it hot where you guys are? Are all of you in Colorado?
Sorry, you guys are a little lagged. I'm not sure.
That's okay. And I don't know if you.
Yeah, I'm in Broomfield.
Broomfield.
Having a hard time hearing you. I'm going to try to adjust. Maybe it's on my end, but let's see.
Okay.
Here.
No, I'm having trouble too. You're cutting in and out.
Yeah, I'm having the same problem.
Okay. Let's give it a second and see if it works itself out. I'm just pulling up Canvas right now. How about now?
I can hear you, but you're not super clear.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll just get started, and if you are struggling to be connected, go ahead and disconnect and then come back and see if that's helpful. I know these can be tough because there are a lot of variables with everybody's different internet connections. So we'll just do our best, and the session is recorded. So go ahead.
Whoa!
This is Kathleen. I've used Zoom before with another university. Sometimes if you turn your camera, it might be a good idea if people turn off their mics. Then it can be easier. The connection has an easier time. So if you turn off your camera and not trying to broadcast video,
great.
Then,
and how do you do that?
And well, it depends. There should be a button that says, there should be a button that looks like a camera, and you mute your camera. It depends on what type of device you're using, if you're using a cell phone or a tablet or your computer. But there should be a little button where you can turn off your camera, and sometimes you can hear better when you do that.
Thank you, Kathleen. I appreciate it. It looks like you guys were able to do that, so that's perfect. Do you hear me at all better? I know your mics are off. Okay, we'll just we'll get going. Does somebody want to give me a shout and let me know that they still can hear?
Yes, we can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you too.
And are you seeing the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So I think we're in business. Kathleen, thanks for that suggestion. That worked out. Hi, Melissa. How are you?
Hi. Well, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. What we're doing to make the connection best is we're muting our microphones and even our cameras if you want to mute your camera, just because it keeps the connection stronger. So yeah, that's perfect. Yep. So we'll go ahead and take a look. I'm hoping you guys can see this PowerPoint. By the way, it's fantastic to have all of you in class. I've really enjoyed it. I got those reflections all graded today, and they're looking fantastic. Really impressed with a lot of the information that you guys pulled and some of the different perspectives. So keep up the good work. The reason that I wanted to pull this together is because as much as we love online learning, it can get a little confusing at times. And I know that there have been some questions because there is a lot of work in this course. There's a lot of content, and there are a lot of assignments. So I wanted to pull us all together, or those of us who could make it at least, to get on a session here and talk through some of the more major assignments this semester and figure out what we need to be doing and iron out any kinks or questions that you may have so that people feel comfortable moving forward. So I'll go ahead and go through this presentation. And then if you have a question, just holler, because we're all on mute, so I'm not sure who needs. So just go ahead and shout out, and we'll take a pause, but we also can ask questions at the end. So either way is fine. The first thing I want to go over is we do have our discussions. We'll have a few of those throughout the summer, not every week, but we do have them. We've done one already, and it looked really good. I think some of the major questions that have come up would be, well, how much do I need to post? And really, we just want to make sure that we have a rich conversation going on. So 3 is a good number, rule of thumb, in these online classes, and especially to graduate level. We're looking at, can we get an original post and at least 3 solid responses? If you do more, that's fantastic. You want to make sure if people are reaching out to you, you're getting back to them when you can. But that's what we're trying to create. It's hard to do it online, but we're trying to facilitate a collaborative, involved conversation about some of these concepts and ideas. So we're looking at 3 or more to peers, and then in addition, our original response post to the question. Want to do more than just a sentence or 2. So you guys know a post that says, oh, I agree, I feel the same way. That's not a post that we're looking for. A post that is long and has content. Bring in the outside sources. Another great thing that we talk with our students about all the time is the text to self connections, text to world connections, text to text connections. So thinking about ways that we can look at this in a bigger picture perspective. I know it's something that I've really enjoyed with you guys and have seemed to be. Hi, Alyssa, how are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Good.
Alyssa, what we're doing is we're reviewing the assignments for the summer semester. So if you just mute your microphone and your video, that's been helping the connection to stay clear. So it should show you how to do that. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So bottom line, what we're looking at for discussions is we just want a rich conversation. We're trying to emulate what we would be doing if we were all in a class together for 4 hours. On campus, and we would be contributing to one another. If we disagree, we're doing so respectfully, and we're sharing ideas from our own lives and our own experiences. One of the most exciting parts about a class like this is that we have a diverse body of experience and background, and that's something that we found in the Getting to Know You posts. So that's what we're aiming for, that's what we're shooting for, is just to share those things and pull from our text and pull from examples in your own instruction or things you've learned in a previous course. Really, the sky's the limit, but we're just looking for substance. It doesn't have to be an essay, but you just want to make sure that you're giving that input. Asking questions to keep the discussion going. So, what are some examples of what you just mentioned? That's always a good way to engage. And then in addition to that, we're always just integrating our sources too. So bringing in the text. Post before the last day. So all of our things are going to be due Sunday at midnight. So if you're posting Sunday or even late in Sunday evening, it's not going to give us enough time to all interact. So you want to get it earlier in the week if you can, but definitely sometime before the final day of the week. Does anybody have any questions about the discussions? Okay, so we'll just be going through hitting on these major assignments, and then we'll take questions if they come up. I know that the KU strategies have been a part of the questions that I've been hearing. There are a lot of questions about these. And these strategies, I want you guys to know, if you haven't used them before, are an incredible resource to you, not only now in this class to learn from, but also in the future. So that's why we get them. That's why we work through and understand how to use them. I hope that you all have had the opportunity to get your hands on these materials, because once you get them, it makes more sense what we're supposed to be doing. If we don't have them, it becomes more confusing. So let me know if you don't have them or if you need help getting them. The first part of this is the demonstration, and this is due on.
I'm sorry. Can I just comment real quick? Sorry, I just want to let you know. I don't know if anybody else is in this position. The bookstore is back ordered on a couple items, so they should have them hopefully by the end of this week or the beginning of next.
Yep.
Just FYI.
Yes. Yeah. No worries. Yeah. Thank you for mentioning that also. If that's your situation, please do let me know. I want you guys to know I want to work with you and be flexible with what you have going So give me a heads up if that is the situation. We can find a way to work around it. However, strategy model demonstration is the first thing that we'll be doing using the text, specifically in our modeling. So we have choices, and these are the options for our reading demo. The idea of this assignment is that you are going to be walking through one of these strategies and showing how you would be doing it. So we could do the paraphrasing or the links vocab strategy or any of these four, and our choice was 1 out of the 4 when we purchased the text. But I'll go through talking about the paraphrasing strategy. That's what this example includes. So we'll just refer to that one, knowing that we have the choices for all these 4. So what you're doing is you are demonstrating that you can model the use of the strategy. You're going to complete the steps to describe and model the strategy, and you have 2 choices, a written script or a video. So what you'll be doing is, let's say that you're doing the paraphrasing strategy. You're reading through it, and then what you're going to do is practice describing the strategy. You're not describing the entire thing. So let's pretend I'm on a video. I'm going to be recording myself. After having read through, I'm going to be describing what the strategy is. Then I'm going to be practicing the model section of the strategy using the materials provided. So if I purchased the paraphrasing strategy, it would give me materials to model the strategy. And when you get your texts, or if you have them already, you'll see all of these are very explicit and lined out. It's just a matter of having them. And so you'll be practicing using those materials. Then you're going to get the passages that are provided to you also in the materials, and you will be choosing 3 or more consecutive passages, and you're practicing the strategy, modeling the strategy with the passages. So if I'm doing the paraphrasing strategy, I'm looking at the example passages that have been provided to me in the text, and I'm saying, I'm going to paraphrase this global science textbook passage. There are 3 consecutive, and here they are, and these are the chapters that have been given to me. So then it's kind of a think aloud. You're thinking out loud. You're saying, this is how I'm going to describe this. This is how I'm going to do this. I'm doing it right now, so I'm taking this step and that step. This is my paraphrase, and this is how I got there. So this is a think aloud. If you do not do a video where you record yourself explaining and showing your process, you're going to be doing a written script where basically it's the same idea, but you're just writing down everything you would say in a video. So you'll say, now I'm going through the passage and I'm noticing this word is emerging, or this theme is repetitive. I'm noticing that this is in bold. All of these steps that you're taking based on what you learned in the strategy, all provided to you within the text, you're describing those to make sure that everybody can understand what you're doing. So the purpose of this assignment is to take one of these 4 strategies and show that you know this has nothing to do with getting another student or anything like that. You're showing, this is what this means, this is how I use it, and I'm using it right now. Here's what I'm doing. All with the materials that will be provided to you in these 4 different packages that you can purchase. Okay, 3KU. So is that helpful in describing how you'll do that? What do you guys think about the video versus the script? Do you have questions?
I think they're both good ideas. I think it's nice to have that option depending on how people learn and like show what they've learned. So I think it makes a lot of sense now that you've described it.
Awesome. Thank you, Anna. I appreciate it. And it's funny, you know, sometimes these things, we get as much as we can down on Canvas, but it just helps to be face-to-face or as close to face-to-face as we can be and talk through them. So I'm glad you guys are here. That is the reading demo. So no other.
I have one question.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I have a question. Sorry, maybe it's better for a video. I was wondering, for me, I think it would be helpful if I like acted it out. So could I like pretend like my husband is the student and like use that as the video?
Sure, that's fine. You just want to make sure, because you're trying to do the strategy yourself. So if you want to use somebody else, if that's helpful to you, but you want to show how you're doing it, and the objective of the assignment is you're describing how you're using it. So as long as you're describing how you're using it, because you're not going to want to have him in the video as a student, if that's what you're saying, because if you're teaching it to him, then he would have to be the one walking through saying, now I'm going to look for bold words. Now I'm going to look for an idea. Yeah. So I get where you're going, but I think.
So I would be like the student.
If the what?
So I would be the student.
Yes,
I'm not
yes.
the teacher.
Yes. Yep. That's a good way to think about it. Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
I think just to keep yourself, now that I think about how you worded that, I think the idea is you're describing yourself reflective, your internal process of, this is what I'm doing. So this is what I've learned about it. Now I will apply it. Here's what I'm doing as I do it. And that'll be your video or your written script. Is that helpful? Okay.
Yeah, it is. Sorry, it's so much. I can't hear you when I am on the video and I'm on the audio, so that's why I'm trying to turn it on and off, because I can't hear what your response is.
No worries. No worries. Thank you for bearing with me.
Okay, so we are the student,
Mhm.
and we are thinking it through as like a student would be thinking it through.
Correct. Yes. Beautiful. I like the way that you described that, Ashley. That's perfect. Good way to describe that. So your final product for this project, which we just discussed, it's either a script or a video. You can do YouTube, however you like to do a video that works for you to submit. But if it is a YouTube video, you'll just submit the web link to your video. Or if it's a script, you'll submit it as a regular document. So that is the reading demo. We still have a couple of weeks. It's the 25th that will be due. So we have several weeks to do that still. There are 3 projects, 3 different things. Well, let me see the best way. 3 different things that require, let me word it this way, contact with actual students. And you guys have become aware of this, and I've talked with many of you about it. But I want to go over those big 3. I think that's going to be the easiest way. And the third one actually has a video option, which we'll talk about. But we're going to go over the big 3. The first one is the transition assessment and advocacy presentation. This is due on July 16th. So you only need 1 student for this, but it's going to be somebody who's secondary age, so middle school or high school. And what you'll be doing is you're practicing with the assessments for transition planning, the Clark, Patton, and Moulton, and then the informal inventory. So total, you'll be doing 4 assessments with this student. I'll be honest, these are usually pretty straightforward, pretty quick. It depends on the student. Obviously, as you know, some students need more time than others would. But this should not take you an enormous amount of time. You'll just be able to sit down with your student in 1 or 2 sessions, depending, and work through these assessments. So first, you'll do the informal inventory of knowledge and skills, and then 3 informal assessments of your choice from the Clark, Patton, Moulton text. And one of those 3 must be related to self-determination. So if you need help deciding on your assessment, please let me know. But really, you'll just pick the ones that you feel are most appropriate, or the ones that would be most relevant or effective to the student that you work with. Remember, we can go all the way up to age 21. So if you need somebody and you find somebody in a transition level program, that's okay too. So we're starting early at middle school, okay, 6th grade, all the way up through 21. So anybody who would be eligible for moving in the direction of a transition IEP, secondary age student, okay? So we have a lot of flexibility there, but you're going to be doing those assessments and then writing a 2-page reflection, that's number 2 here, of the results of the assessment. So you're summarizing your findings and you're reflecting on the assessments and the use of them. What do you think? Do you think that they were comprehensive? Do you think you'd like to see more? How can these be used in your present and future practice? So just a 2-page reflection on your experience with the student. And then you'll be submitting that along with the 3 completed assessments with the student. Finally, the advocacy presentation piece, and this is all due July 16th. So again, we've got a long time to get going on it, but I want you guys to be aware ahead so that we get all the questions answered. I don't want anybody to feel stressed or pressed at the end. So for your advocacy presentation, this is something that you're developing with the student. Again, every student has a different ability level. So the level of involvement of the student or his or her parents or family may depend. But you want to make sure that they're somewhat involved because the presentation will be presenting interests, skills, limits, and goals for the student. And we'll have some samples for that presentation. But you'll be submitting PowerPoint. Honestly, Prezi or PowerPoint is going to be the best way to do this. You guys may have been in IEP meetings before, or when a student is coming to a new school and he or she may present, oh, you know, this is what I'm good at. This is what I like to do. This is what I want to do in the future. This is what I need help with. And these are really great for students to make. So honestly, this is an opportunity for you to work with a student in making one of these. It doesn't have to be super expensive, just enough that you're covering everything described here in this list and hitting on interests, skills, limits, and goals. Okay, so that is the assessment and advocacy presentation. And then you'll submit that on Blackboard just as a PowerPoint or a Prezi format. Any questions on that one?
Yes, I had a question on the student selection.
Yes.
I currently work in an elementary school,
Mm-hmm.
and so is it okay if I find like previous students that are now in middle school?
Yeah.
Or do they need to be a student with needs or not?
Yeah, you're definitely going to want to be working with a student with an IEP. Good question. Because we're talking about self-determination.
Oh,
we're
okay.
talking about, yeah, so good question on that too. Yeah, you're definitely going to want to. For this piece, absolutely. So do you think you might be able to access a previous student in middle school who has an IEP? It doesn't matter what the IEP is for, just some kind of support.
Well, I just had one of my 5th graders transition to 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could use her.
Totally.
Would that work?
Yep, absolutely. It's whatever secondary age student, could be middle or high. Yeah, so that's fine. And honestly, 6th grade is a time that students start to think about the future, and it's good and it's helpful to get a head start. So good question. That would be just fine. Yeah, Melissa?
Yes, so if you're making this PowerPoint around your assessment results and you're including their skills, limits, goals, and interests, would you want to like maybe videotape the student talking about those things and like embed that in a PowerPoint that you're further, you know, typing into and analyzing at a deeper level, kind of what your assessment results were around those things? So that's what I'm kind of wondering. When you're involving the student, obviously you're asking the student and working with them, but then to make them a part of the actual presentation, would it be appropriate to video them talking about that and then embed that in the PowerPoint?
Great question. You could, you do not have to. I know that the idea is really cool. Sometimes with the video, you want to check in with parents about confidentiality, at which point you would just say, you know, this is a project for school, and you can use one of the permission slips and just say, I just need to interview us these questions. Would you be okay with this? You could do it that way if you wanted to, but it's not required. I think the idea of involving a student in creating a presentation would be sitting down and saying, okay, you know, this is the slide where we're talking about your goals. What are your goals? What did we talk about when we did those quizzes? What did we come up with? What do you want to put on the list? What do you want to take out? So really that would be also considered involvement. So it's just the comfort level of the parents and the student that you're working with. Does that help?
Oh, yeah, that's very helpful. That's great. I was just kind of wondering if you needed to see us working with the student as a part of it, or if it's more just gleaning the information with them and creating it with them. So you cleared that up. Thank you.
Perfect. Of course. Yeah. So that last thing that you just said is correct. Just working with them and gleaning the info. In addition to that, the proof that you're working with the student would be number 3 here under translation assessment. You're submitting copies of 3 completed informal assessments. So you just want to make sure that you scan those or take a photo or however you want to do it and prove that you did do those with the student, but that's the only proof. You wouldn't have to do a video or anything like that. So that is that one. And then our favorite, the KU sentence writing strategy assignment, which I like to call the big one because it is the major assignment really of this course. It's due August 4th. August 4th is the final day of our course. So we have the entire class to do this one. We have all of June and all of July to get it done, but it is intensive. And there's a lot of prep that goes with it. So what I'll do is I'm just going to run over the main ideas and then we'll do some questions after that. But what we're doing is you will be working with a student or students. If you would like to work with a group of students, that's fine, but only one is required. You want somebody sitting at a 4th grade reading level or above, just about a 4th grade. Because that's going to be a zone of proximal development where this material is most accessible for that student. So that's the level of performance that you're looking for. Does not have to be a student on an IEP because anybody would benefit from this, but obviously it's helpful to have a student with an IEP if you're hoping to work in special education. So, you know, that part is up to you. Basically what you're doing is you first, before working with your student, are reading through and reviewing the whole sentence writing strategy curriculum. So you should have the student lessons and the instructor volume. And you're learning about the pre-test, obtaining commitment to learn, describing, and then you're going to be doing at least one of the controlled practice stage, okay, for one sentence type. So there are 4 different types of sentences, and that's something that can be based on, I'm looking at my own SWS manual right now. This is something that can be based on the way that you evaluate your student in the pre-test and the level of performance that you feel they stand at. The 4 different kinds, though, are simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences, and then compound complex sentences. Now, I will say, most people can benefit from the simple sentence instruction. So you're only going to be doing one of these. You're not going to be doing all of them, but I encourage you to really check in the pretest and see if you think simple sentence instruction could still be beneficial. So it's really the results of your pre-quiz that you're doing there in the book to determine this, but typically really anyone can benefit from starting with that step 1, simple sentences, and it's very foundational. So don't just make the assumption, oh, this student's very verbose, or, you know, I think she'll be fine, or she's too old to do that, because oftentimes those skills are still absent. So don't write it off, really take a look at it. But if you need to go to a higher level than that, that's okay too. But we're just going to be doing 1 for the purposes of this course. And most people will probably end up doing simple sentences with their student. Roughly, we are meeting with the student to go through these processes, the describing, the controlled practice. We're meeting, it depends on the kid. That's why it's hard to say. You guys know that every student has a different kind of attention span. rough average from what I've heard and talked about with people for previously doing this assignment has been 6 or 7 sessions, 30 minutes a session. That's kind of average. So it's really what it takes to get through the content and to get through it well at the pace of the student. So for some of you, it may go faster than that. For some of you, it may take longer. An option that you have is to meet for a 30-minute chunk, take a break, and then meet for another 30-minute chunk on the same day. So who knows, if you meet at the student's home, the student may be able to have lunch and go outside and then come back for another 30 minutes, and then you got an hour in. That's an option or a way you can set it up, but you don't want to scrunch it all into a week or a weekend. That is not going to be effective or meaningful for the instruction. You want to spread it out longer to really make sure that it sinks in. So you could say, okay, Tuesdays and Thursdays every week in July. That's just kind of an idea, 30 minutes, or every Tuesday for an hour every week in July with a break in between. Those are some of the ways that you can set this up. So talk with the student, talk with the parents. I put a draft permission slip up on Canvas. Let me know if you guys did not see that. But I think that one is helpful to just let parents know this is what we're doing, so you can get that signed and they can have awareness of what's going on. I just got a question from Anna. Thanks, Anna. She said, should we lump our 30-minute sessions together into 1 hour chunks for the required hour log, or can we modify the log to reflect? Good question. I would lump them into hour chunks. I think that would be the easiest. What do you guys think about that? Does that sound okay? Okay. Yeah, it's the same amount of time, so I think lumping them into hour chunks should be fine. But this is suggested, just average from what I've heard, is about 6 times for a 30-minute session. You let me know if it's taking much longer or if it went way faster, and that's okay. It's just every student, right? So everybody's different, so we just do our best. For the submission, we're using live text, right? Except for some of you who may still have iWeb portfolio from previous semesters. That's okay. Same concept. We are going to be uploading all of these guys to Canvas and all of these guys also to iWeb portfolio or live text, depending on which one you use. So same work, just uploading it to these 2 different sources. You can see written reflection, the student pretest, your scoring sheet for the student pretest. This is all going to be provided to you in the KU strategies books. And then student teacher commitments to learn that you guys will sign off on together. Verbal practice checklist, the quiz, the progress chart. So this will be in your KU. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to really look through that, but it all will be in there. And so if you have a problem finding something, let me know. But this is just the stage. These are the stages that you're doing. The pretest, obtain the commitment to learn, describe, model, verbal practice. And these are all laid out for you with scripts in the KU strategies book of exactly what to do and what to say. So it's going to be pretty straightforward. And then stage 5, controlled practice. You're going to want to do at least 1 controlled practice test with each student. More if possible, 1 is the requirement, because I know that we're going to be short for time. Great question. Do we use the student's real name? Let's make it a student name, or you could just use first name, because we want to protect confidentiality. But it would be fine to say, Anthony P. That's fine. So you just want to make sure that you protect the confidentiality. That's a great question. That is the rundown on the KU sentence strategy. Does anybody have any thoughts or questions on that? Okay, awesome. Please reach out to me if you're having trouble. Feel free to modify the permission slip I just made up as a draft, so it's not a required form, but it's just helpful for parents to kind of see what you're doing. So feel free to do that. I did just get a chat Will you post this PowerPoint to Canvas? Absolutely, will do. Yes, thank you. Great question. So I will post this, and then we'll have a recording of this session also. Finally, due on the 30th, so this is the week before the final week of this course. It'll be July 30th. This is the transition, general education, observation, and reflection. So this is the third one of the 3 that requires live humans. But this one you don't have to work specifically with a student. You're just doing an observation. So this one will be an observation of a lesson taking place in a general ed classroom at the secondary level, middle, high school, or even a transition program up to 21 years old. This is us reflecting upon transition-related skills being integrated in the gen ed setting. Okay, so you're thinking about how self-determination, self-advocacy, some of these other skills are being integrated or not integrated. If you see something to the contrary, please include it. This is just you observing and thinking about that and looking for those little things in the gen ed setting. So you'll be writing up 2 to 3 page kind of reflection summary. You'll have a reflection of the observation, including details about the lesson, notes about the lesson, and then analyzing the integration you see of those transition related skills. If you don't see it very well, for instance, if you're in a class where the teacher is not giving any students the opportunity to speak out or to ask questions, that's advocating for themselves, right, to raise their hands. If you're seeing that, or you're seeing somebody be shut down, include that, okay? Because that's not good, but it's important for us to be aware of and to observe also, so that we can work towards more self-advocacy in the classroom. So if you see one or the other, write that up, because part of this is recommendation for embedding transition skills into a lesson. So you're like, that was really great, but you know what would have made it better? If you had allowed them to choose from 3 different options for their project, or if you had allowed them to apply that to a future career idea. Okay, so all of these different things, we can still be reflecting and making recommendations. Just got a chat. How long does the lesson have to be? Good question. We want a minimum of 30 minutes is what I'm looking for. Great question. Because, you know, a class might roughly run an hour or maybe more. It depends on the day. But we just want to make sure we get at least 30 minutes of instruction. If it's more, that's great, but less than that is not going to give us the full picture. So because it's summer, I know this is tough. I've talked to a couple people about this one. If you can find a video online, even get on YouTube or Google some different videos of high school teaching lessons, English, social studies, whatever you're into, middle school math. If you can find a clip of somebody teaching online, you can use that, but make sure that you give me the link just so I know what video you're looking at. If not, we're starting to get creative looking at summer school, right? Get in touch with your local district. There might be some kind of programming that is year-round or maybe remedial that still would be a general education setting. So you're looking for those classrooms, and we can get pretty creative about that. But that is the tricky part. That's why I opened it up to the video option as well. So if you find something online, just make sure you include that link, and then you can go ahead and use that, okay? We're just looking for the integration of those transition-related skills. So that's the bottom line with that one. And those are the majors for this course. Everything else is pretty straightforward, and you can do it really independently. These are the big ticket assignments that involve other people and students, and they'll count towards your hours in your live text or your iWeb portfolio. So I wanted to go over them, make sure that they're clear. Is that helpful? Would love to hear questions if anybody has any. Y'all still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I had a question about sending your final into the live text or iWeb portfolio. I have had a really hard time submitting anything
Okay.
into there. And so every time I go in, it says that I can't paste or include anything in there. would that be a question for the counselor just to look into that?
Yeah, and that's frustrating. It sounds like an IT issue almost. So I would get in touch with your advisor. Yeah, let them know. But just make sure that you keep all your materials in one place. So then once you can get that glitch worked through, you can just upload it all in there. But I wonder if it's your browser or your internet. What do you think? Maybe.
I don't know. I haven't had any issues with anything else through the browsers, because I'll use like Google or Safari, whichever ones, to try to accommodate that. But I just didn't know if you've experienced any other students having those issues.
Yeah, I haven't heard that, but it sounds frustrating. Anybody else have that experience?
I might be able to help a little bit, Alyssa, just because I've pretty much uploaded everything up until this point. And I was having a lot of problems too into live. I have live text. So I don't know if you have iWebfolio, I might not be able to help. But I've noticed with live text, I can take a screenshot of something. So if it's not like a Word document that I'm uploading, because there's a little, you click upload file and it's just a file on your computer that you upload. But say you wanted to add something like a picture or something that's not inside that file, you can choose to screen clip it and take a screenshot of it and then save it as a file on your computer and upload that. That might work. I know if you're I don't remember, Alyssa, if you're in the special education program, I'm in the generalist program. Dr. Jackson really helped me, and he's pretty good with any questions about it. So you could always reach out to him too.
Okay, thank you, Melissa.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I just want to make sure that I get a list of everybody who's in here. I'm going to stop our screen share. Perfect. Just because it's been good to meet, been good to meet with you guys, and you do get credit for being here at this. So for those who were not able to make it to this web meeting, what I'll do is I'll just have them watch a recording of this, and I'll have this recording posted as well if you need to access this on Canvas. But they'll be writing up a little summary of it just to make sure that they were able to hear everything. So I'm just going to copy all Ashley, Melissa, Anna. 1 minute. Okay. Jennifer, Tracy, Kathleen, and Alyssa. Awesome. Okay, so I have Ashley, Melissa, Anna, Jennifer, Tracy, Kathleen, and Alyssa. Did I get y'all? Perfect. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you guys for being here. Do you have any more questions? I hope this was a little bit of clarification.
I have one more question. Sorry.
Yeah.
So with the last assignment, when we're watching a general education secondary classroom, how will we know that they have IEP students if we're watching it? Because I'm not sure if I'm able to watch a general ed classroom this summer, but I'm going to hope to. But if not, it'll be nice to have a backup to be able to watch it, watch a classroom setting on YouTube. But I guess that was my question, is how do you know that there's like students in that classroom that need transition services or need help with advocacy?
Great question. Obviously, there's no way we can know. And even if we were going into a general ed classroom where we're not super familiar with the school or the teachers, they might not disclose to us which specific students have IEPs. So that's why we have to think about this more globally. We're looking at the assignment as an observation of the integration of these skills into general ed instruction. So rather than saying, oh, are they helping out, Mike or Tommy or this particular student, we want to know, are they providing opportunities for students to access opportunities for self-advocacy? Are they allowing students to speak out? Are they offering students chances to choose? Are they making connections to technology and post-secondary outcomes and things that we want to do in the future? We're looking for more excellence in the integration in the gen ed instruction than we are the implementation with any particular student with or without an IEP. So technically this could be done really well even without any students with IEPs in the class. We're just looking at the instructional technique. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you. I guess I was just not sure if we had to see what the student to teacher relationship is, or if it's more just the instruction part.
Yeah, if you observe a teacher calling or pulling out a specific student, whether you know that that student has an IEP or not, I mean, all of that is good anecdotally to include, but ultimately we're looking at gen ed instruction and how can we incorporate these strategies and ideas. Awesome. So if we don't have any other questions, any others?
No, I said thank you for clarifying.
Of course. It's really fun to talk with you guys on here. Please know you can call me or email me if anything else comes up, and let me know how I can help you out, okay? It's been good so far, so thanks for all your hard work. We'll see you guys later. Enjoy your day.